Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Vault podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark, and it's the news hour time. We are here. We're midway through July at this point. It's crazy. I know that's how time works, but it's just. It always amazes me every week when I look at the date and realize how far into the year we already are. This will be. No, we'll have another news hour next week because I am going to be away for a week starting the 21st. So no news hour on the 27th? Yeah. But we'll get one more in before the end of the year. But you will get a podcast prime. We're recording that on Friday. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, so housekeeping up front. You're going to get stream on Monday, playing through some more Mega Man. You're going to get... what's it called? Tom on Thursday, I believe. It might actually end up being Friday. And then we'll figure that all out because there's a lot of things jumbling up because I'm trying to squeeze everything in before I go on vacation. But we'll definitely have weekend streams, Saturday, Sunday. I am off Monday from work despite the fact that I will not be traveling to Toronto until Tuesday. So maybe we'll do like an all-day stream on Tuesday. On Monday, and play some Death Stranding or something, or maybe Night or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out on Monday because I'm going to be off from work, and if I have some time after I'm done cleaning and packing, we'll do something crazy on Monday. So be sure to check all that out. And then I am gone for a week, so Tom will play the Retro Roulette game on Monday, and he might go on Thursday. Without me, but yeah, there will be no streaming outside of definitely for sure that Monday of that week. So I'll remind everybody next week as well. But yeah, so we jump into what I've been playing. So we'll start out with the non-streamed games. NCAA Football 26. Well, I technically streamed it, but came out, and I haven't played as much of it as I did the original, and that's not anything to do with the game at all. The game is great so far for me. A lot of people are screaming about bugs, but I don't know. I don't play online and where a lot of those bugs occur. I haven't had anything really happen in Dynasty. I'm really just a Dynasty guy, and as long as Dynasty is good at the level I play at, you saw some of my skill on Friday if you tuned into the stream for our new Hasty Glance, I'm calling it. A nice play on words for those of you that know what I'm referring to. But yeah, the game is great. I'm only game 3 into my second year, which by now I was like a whole season finished. I had spent a whole day playing through an entire season and a half when I first got it last year. So I'm a little behind that, but that's because of another game we'll be talking about down the line that I'm playing a hell of a lot more. For you guys mostly. Well, completely. I don't play it off stream, but yeah, so as I explained on that Hasty Glance, a lot of quality of life stuff is great in Dynasty. I'm loving it so far. I haven't really got into the intricacies of some of the new stuff they put in during gameplay because I like to play the full game, so I sort of do quick, quick clock. So I can't do a lot of the changing stuff. So it's great when playing against a computer. I can do some things, but not, anything. I'm not a football strategist expert. But I can mostly do it from the offensive end. I've done enough video game stuff that I can read a defense from up high. Would never be able to play quarterback at all, despite the fact that I can't throw a football really far. But yeah, the quality of life stuff outside is great. The nerdy things they have in terms of history, where it lets you know every conference champion, every award winner, every national champion. Got it all listed there, all the way back into the first one that was ever given out. For a nerd like me, it's amazing. The only thing I want to know is, like, does it track your coaching? Like, can I see how I was at other universities? I will only know that after I get my next job. I'm currently the coach of the Troy Trojans down in Troy, Alabama. And I'm the old ball coach down there. And so far we're 1-1. We tried to go into Blacksburg and take out Tech, and they kicked our ass, as very well they should do, as the number 12 team in the country. At home after Enter Sandman. So, yeah, but we're looking good on the recruiting trail. We're doing well. So, I'm looking forward to the rest of the year. Yeah, so that's awesome. Recruiting is slightly better. Being at a lower school, I haven't had many battles with programs yet, because I'm mainly going after 2- and 3-star guys, and there's a ton of them. So some schools back out once they know they're losing. So I'm not having any real, like, battles with schools that are just as good as me or something. But yeah, it's. I think the biggest change is the wear and tear thing. They added that it can be now season and career, meaning if you run a guy into a ground as a freshman, he may not bounce back, and that may be the only year you have him, and then he's just injury riddled or out for the rest of his career. So they added a thing where you can go into the auto subs and choose when you would want him taken out on his wear and tear level. And then you can keep them fresh without even really have to do it. If you like to do it manually, there's a new way of doing that. Like I said, quality of life stuff is fantastic in this game. So, yeah, I'm having a ton of fun with it. Playing through that. And still playing NHL 25. Like I said, I'm just trying to see how many goals and points I can get with this one guy. Feeding him a little bit, but he's still naturally getting 2 to 3 points a night, even without me feeding him. And then he's got teammates that are also getting 2 to 3 points a night. So, yeah, it's been fun. Sports game side has been fun. Yeah, I am excited to be able to dive deeper into NCAA once once I'm done with the last game I'll talk about in this segment. Yeah, next up is the other game I streamed on Monday. Is Mega Man. So if you don't know, for our Retro Roulette endurance runs that I do, where I play an hour of a game until I beat it, I've embarked on the challenge of beating, I think, the first 6 Mega Mans. It's all the ones that are on the NES. We're starting out with Mega Man 1. We got through 2 Robot Masters. I am using the internet to, sort of help me out with what Robot Masters to fight, at what time for weapons and weaknesses and things, just to help it so that we're not trial and error and I'm not punishing myself for things when I shouldn't really be punishing myself. I just want to make it as easy as possible for me. Sorry, Game Vault Cat is, if you notice me stammering on words, just really being annoying right now at my feet for no reason. So, and if you see me leaning on the video, that's because I'm reaching down to try and keep her calm. Yeah, so Mega Man is very frustrating. I already see the quality of life that stuff that 2 had already. That's making me very frustrated with this. It is very much unfair. It was originally an arcade game and has arcade trappings still in it. Like a total score and all that, and collectibles for points only that do nothing for you in the game. So, the game overall is good. You can see the basis for the better game in Mega Man 2. Maybe the best game of the NES games. And yeah, but it's going to be a little frustrating. There's some things that maybe because I'm not using a totally real NES, that might be a problem with these games. But never had a problem with 2. 1 just seems to have some jumping things that were an issue. What else? The Masters weren't that hard. I hate, I think it's Gutsman or whatever, the one that can jump and quake. That's the only thing. But his bomb weakness basically takes like a quarter of his life every time you hit him with a bomb. So it's fairly quick once you get the timing down on the quake. So can't wait to get through this game and play the game I love, Mega Man 2. After that. And finally, the game that all of you have watched me play 11 hours this weekend, 31 hours overall on stream. Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Gameplay-wise, it's a lot of the same. Death Stranding 2, a lot of quality of life stuff. I know I keep using that word, but for this sequel, a lot of good menuing stuff that makes things a little easier. We're in chapter 7 now. I'm not going to spoil story stuff much. We built an entire monorail system. I finally finished that, and we got most of the road system done. I'm coming at it from 2 angles, so I don't know if they will connect at some point. And I haven't decided if I'm just going to play off stream and just do that for like 4 hours and not bore you guys with it. But yeah, so we're working through it. Kojima's still Kojima. There was a moment today in a line that was delivered, and our good friend Goat was there with me, and it literally, he said, I had to check in on you because it looked like you had a stroke after that line. And, while joking about health problems, not usually great sometimes, it felt like I had one. Because the line was, yesterday becomes today, and today becomes tomorrow. And I just kind of paused the game and just was like scratching my head. I don't know what he was trying to say. I don't know if what he meant was doing that backwards. Like, tomorrow becomes today, today becomes yesterday. Like, that makes sense. That makes sense. And what he was trying to get across in the scene. But the way it was written and the way it was delivered, I have no idea what he was trying to get across here. So, yeah, it literally, I felt like I was going insane. And I had to sit there and think about it for a while, and Goat got concerned. So, it was pretty funny. Yeah, so that's it. I love that game. I'm trying to get it done before I leave. So that maybe I can do a solo spoiler cast on it. A real short, like 20-30 minute one of just me rambling and spoiling the shit out of everything and just talking about the insane stuff that I don't really want to talk about here. For people that haven't played the game. And also because I know Anthony listens to this and he probably would like to have a full podcast where he can just skip story stuff for a Kojima game. But yeah, overall the big weakness is still combat. When I'm fighting humans, fine. I hate BT combat. Hate it with a passion. I don't think it needs to be in there at all. You can do the thing where, the sneaking around stuff, that's fine. But when the tar people come up and then they try to add a new thing and it doesn't make it any better. It just doesn't need it. It just doesn't need the combat. You just need them to be scary things. And maybe you can fight them off and then run away, like I do anyway. And not have to actually engage in combat. The plus side is if you do defeat them in combat, you do get a shitload of Chiral Crystals. So maybe that's an incentive to do it, but I don't know. I don't really like it at all, and I hate when they force you to do it. We had a boss battle that was non-BT related that I absolutely loved. And if there were more boss battles like that, I would take it 100%. But it's just the tar monster stuff. Don't really like it at all. And the story's getting pretty good. Finally, I got to a lot of new story stuff after building roads for 10 hours. So, yeah, that'll do it for what I've been playing. I can't wait for Podcast Prime on Friday to, talk to Jen and Tom about what they've been playing and have them ask questions about Death Stranding 2. But, yeah, we are going to move on to the news. And first off, the first story we have is the FBI seizes a Nintendo Switch piracy website. A major website hosting pirate copies of Nintendo Switch games has been shut down by the FBI. Now, instead of illegally copied games, the notorious NSW2U.com hosts a single image offering a warning message from the FBI, acknowledging that the domain has been seized. This move is the latest in a string of anti-piracy efforts surrounding Nintendo games this year, and follows Nintendo itself taking action to permanently brick new Switch 2 consoles that use piracy-enabling flash card devices. I don't know if I thought they just took it offline, but maybe there's like a second offense and you get totally knocked out. But yeah, so it's been this this website is under investigation by both the FBI and FIOD. I think it's FIOD, the Netherlands investigative unit, which makes me think that the domain was in the Netherlands, which isn't out of the realm. A lot of these sites have ties to somewhere not in the United States. And so, and it's blocked in various countries, and it's on the EU blacklist. Like, this went far. So if you use this website to pirate games, and we would never encourage that here at Game Vault Pod. You cannot go here anymore. So be warned. But it looks like Nintendo is really taking this Switch piracy seriously. I think the Tears of the Kingdom stuff getting out there early really spooked them. I mean, they've always been anti-piracy and really strong on it, but from what I can tell, and I could be completely wrong, they've never been like this gung-ho about it. And I think ever since the Tears of the Kingdom stuff happened, they've been much more aggressive with it. So in some positive news, I guess, for people that have played the game, Naughty Dog surprises fans with The Last of Us 2 chronological experience update, but says new players shouldn't use it. I call bullshit on that. If new players want to do it and be just as angry as a lot of players, then they can go ahead and play it the regular way. But I haven't played through it myself, so I'm not 100% sure how much it spoils things. Well, I guess it does definitely spoil things. The Last of Us 2 developer Naughty Dog surprised fans by releasing a chronological experience option. It reorders the game's storyline in a linear narrative. The Fresh mode, available as part of a free update today on PC and PlayStation 5, shuffles Part 2's non-linear narrative as a fresh option for seasoned players. Intriguingly, Naughty Dog makes it clear that it sees the new chronological experience option as something extra rather than a replacement for the game's original storytelling that was very intentional and core to how our studio wanted Part 2's themes and narrative beats to impact players. Naughty Dog even goes as far as to say that new players are recommended not to use the chronological experience option for their first run through the game, and instead experience Part 2's story the way it was originally developed. Josh Dornbush of Naughty Dog said, through the new chronological mode, we believe players will gain even deeper insight into Part 2's narrative. Players will be able to see how Ellie, being gifted a guitar, flows so neatly into her learning to play. For example, while the journey through Seattle will showcase the fascinating parallels between Ellie and Abby's crisscrossing journeys, you'll see just how close they come to running into each other, how their actions impact each other, and more. Chronological mode was worked on by Naughty Dog in collaboration with co-developers Nixies, and once complete, it will award new PlayStation trophies as well as a couple of bonus outfits. So This might get me to jump back into part 2. I think I have the upgrade at some point to just check it out. I won't be streaming it, obviously, because I won't want to spoil things for people. But I had been starting to play part 1. It's either part 1 or part 2 I started playing through with the director's commentary on. So I'll go back and check this out shortly and report back in. Probably in a couple months. I have a bunch of games to play right now and a lot of things going on. So, yeah. Yeah, and it looks like they're using some Uncharted costumes for Joel and Tommy to be Sam and Nathan. So, Sam and Nathan Drake. So, kind of interesting. Yeah, so next up, I just love fans analyzing, like, I'll read the headline. Fans analyzing blurry pixels believe Nintendo Switch Online is getting Super Smash Bros. For its N64 catalog, and now the hunt is on for more. Nintendo fans are poring over official video advertisements advertising the new catalog, the one that revealed the Switch 2 exclusive CRT filter, and believe that they can see blurry box art for N64 game Super Smash Bros. Alongside Super Smash Bros., other potential matches for games include Donkey Kong 64, which is perfect, Ratman 2, retro first-person shooter Forsaken. Oh, I remember the box for Forsaken. I don't know if actually I ever played it. And Glover. Gotta love the glove. Look up some old Jim Ross saying that promo for WWE. That's why it's burned into my memory. The suggestion that Super Smash Bros. Might be revived on Switch brings with it the exciting possibility of multiplayer capabilities. Could Nintendo even rose up some kind of online play? Regardless, as fans wait for news on Switch 2's inevitable Smash Bros. Incarnation. And Sakurai is making a Kirby game, so that's not going to be for a while. Last week, the Switch 2 exclusive Nintendo Switch Online catalog GameCube titles added Super Mario Strikers, one of the best Mario sports games ever, adding to its launch roster of a game that shall not be named, F-Zero GX and Soul Calibur 2, and Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness will be coming soon. So I love it when fans dive deep into pixelated things in commercials and videos and stuff, and because it's harmless, like possibly spoiling something. So yeah, sticking with Nintendo, Nintendo won't say why Donkey Kong Bonanza's Pauline is 13 years old specifically, wants players to puzzle out the answer themselves. Announcing her age, as it says, this is not a thing for Nintendo that does. Historically, it does not include exact information about characters' ages in official communications. Heck, it won't even say whether or not Waluigi is Wario's brother, friend, rival, or enemy. So when we spoke to game's producer, Kenta Motokuroi, and director Kazuka Takahashi, we had to ask, why did they specify the age? We didn't get a straight answer, and they did explain a little bit and why she just isn't Pauline from Odyssey. One of the important roles we knew we wanted this character to accomplish was in accompanying Donkey Kong on his travels and acting in some cases as a bit of a narrator. So he ended to pitch a bit of a tease. Now, as to why 13 years old in particular was the choice, I think that's something we want players in the course of enjoying the game to start to puzzle out, think for themselves. Yeah, it's just weird. There's so many weird things about 13 years old in Japan. I think, I don't study these things, but I think someone told me in the past why a lot of the Final Fantasy and anime characters are teenagers, and have a little bit of sexualization to them outside of being perverts is, I think, age of consent is like 13 or something insane in Japan. So I won't be surprised if that has something to do with it here, which is weird. But anyway, so you'll just find out for yourselves. Nintendo is not telling you. Sticking with Donkey Kong Bonanza, Gotta remember, it's supposed to be like banana. Um, Reveal has fans convinced Nintendo is working on a Switch 2 Super Mario 3D platformer as well. Um, as revealed yesterday, Donkey Kong Bands is being produced by Nintendo veteran Murokura and Takahashi, as we just mentioned, relatively prior to Takahashi worked at Sega and Square Enix franchises such as Sonic and Final Fantasy, and Murokura directed Super Mario 3D World and Super Mario Odyssey. Worked on by the team, but now that we know who the game's top developers are, and we even know why the game exists, as IGN was told, the idea came from Odyssey producer and Nintendo legend Koizumi. Sorry. And that's the part that has fans wondering if Donkey Kong Banzai exists because asked the Mario team to make a 3D Donkey Kong game, but he was not involved. Yeah, so it's just a lot of speculation here. That they are also working on a 3D Mario game, which would make sense. I would give a year or two before it comes out. I don't expect it in the fall or anything like that. But next year, I wouldn't be surprised if they were working in this, especially since this was revealed as a Switch 1 game at first. This Donkey Kong game, which means it was far along before Switch 2 came out. And they could have just worked on upgrading it and been working on something else at the same time. So, interesting here. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It needs a Mario game. Moving on, Final Fantasy producer Yoshida says there's not a clear-cut answer whether future entries will be turn-based following Clair Obscure's success. So basically, it's just a story about whether they should go to turn-based. Yoshida says with this question of turn-based versus action, it tends to isolate the gameplay to just the battle system. It doesn't take into account what kinds of games the creators want to deliver to players. For example, based on a certain graphical quality we want to present to our players, or the narrative we want to deliver to our players. It relates to how we set up the game's systems around it. This includes the battle system, game design, and gameplay feel. It's not a clear-cut answer whether it will become all turn-based or if it's going to become more action-based. I'm not necessarily going to be on Final Fantasy XVII, so we also don't want to obstruct or limit our future director or whomever will be producing games like 17 or even 18. Yoshida continued, we do not want to put them on rails. So essentially, this was one of the stories I did want to pull because my main thought is I loved Clair Obscure. The turn-based was great, but that wasn't the reason I loved it. I think what needs to happen, and they almost got there with 16, is the reason why some of the previous games failed, like 15 and even the 13 sequels, and really only one of them is playable, was because the story and the characters didn't grab you. Like, that's the immediate thing. If you played Clair Obscure, the thing with Clair Obscure is within the first 90 minutes of that game, you are in. Once the Grimmage happens and you finish that prologue and you set off to the continent, you are in. You are in on that story. You are in on that gameplay. You are in on the story. You are in. You want to see where it goes. You're already hooked on at least one of the characters, if not two, depending on how much you connect to Mael early. And that's what Final Fantasy has to do. They almost got there with Clive in 16. And it takes a while, and then finally you start getting connected. But it's not the same. Like, it takes too long to get going sometimes. And I think that's what helped Clair Obscure is it was 90 minutes. Even less if you rush through it. Like, you fell in love with the world, you fell in love with the characters, you fell in love with the story, you wanted to know what the hell was going on, you wanted to know everything. Kind of like, Final Fantasy X is probably the last one to do this. I don't count 12, because that was set in Ivalice. I believe it's set in Ivalice. So, like, a lot of that stuff's already established, if you're a veteran. to the series, and I don't think it captures you right away if you're not a veteran. So I kind of put 12 on its own island. 13 was weird, and it took at least 10 hours to grab your attention, in my opinion. I think once you're through all the l'Cie stuff and all early on. And that was even before they drop you into the real open game. But 10's the last one that sort of characters hook you right away, story hooks you right away. Whether or not you like how it ends or how it progresses. In that first, you're in Zanarkand. You're doing the Blitzball thing. What the hell is this? Orb water soccer thing? Why is this guy popular? Who is this kid? You see Auron. You see, the thing come and destroy the town. You immediately go, and then you're in this world in these ruins, and then you meet Riku and the Al Bhed, and it's just, that is what you need to do in RPGs. You have to catch people. Now, it doesn't have to be full, I am thinking that, yes, some RPGs take 5 hours to get going. Personas are notorious for that. At least 5 hours. Because they want to do all the introduction before they hit you with the thing. They want to introduce you to characters, and they want to do it that way before introducing you to the story. But at least they're doing the character thing. That's been the problem with some Final Fantasies. Between 10 and 16 is you didn't really grab me with the 15 guys at all. That was a forgettable game. And 13-2 and Lightning Returns are just trash. But, and 13 takes too long. So, in my opinion, it's not so much turn-based versus action. There's probably people that have opinions one way or the other on that. I don't care either way. I liked, Remake's combat, and Rebirth was a step up in my opinion. I liked Clair Obscura's combat. I love Mario, and Luigi and Paper Mario combat, which is sort of similar to Clair Obscura. As long as the combat's fun, I'm in. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. I just don't want it to be boring. That sometimes what loses me in RPGs sometimes is when combats are boring. So yeah, that's my thought on this. I think it's more Final Fantasy's got to get back to grabbing people immediately and get them hooked, because 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 does that. It is a golden run of doing that. 4 does it. 5 takes a bit. We played 5 in the beginning and it didn't grab me immediately. And I've not really touched 3 or 2. And 1 is just the basic of basic games. In terms of being on the NES and all that. But yeah. So theoretically, from someone that plays a lot of JRPGs and a lot of RPGs in general, it's more story and characters that they need to focus on than combat. It just so happens that Clair Obscura, on top music, characters, story, setting, they did turn-based combat. That was it. But you need the others to make the combat worth it. You could have the best turn-based combat game in the world, but if a story, at least for me, if a story doesn't hook me, I'm not in. So, feel free in the comments of this video, or on Blue Sky, or wherever you follow us on social media. Just let us know what you think. Moving on. This is for Jenny. She pointed this out to us, or Tom pointed it out to her, or something. There's a new game called Shark Dentist. Now it's for the PC. As the subhead says, this name pretty much tells you everything you need to know. You are a dentist for a shark. And so I'll read you the first paragraph. Shark Dentist, a new PC game from developer Alice Games. It's exactly what it sounds like. You are a shark dentist who must perform dental work on anesthetized? Anesthesiast? Or whatever. They're under anesthesia. But if you mess up, they might wake up
in pain and rip your head off. There's a lot more to it than that, though. You have to maintain the anesthesia. Got him. Anesthesia. Breathe, Mark. Anesthesia. Jesus, I can't speak tonight. You know the word I'm saying. I said it right before. Doses and oxygen levels, and monitor the shark's pulse, administer drugs, work on teeth with circular saws, drills, and mirrors, and more. All while the deadliest creature on Earth hangs suspended from the ceiling just inches from your face. So, seems like a fun game. Probably not so much horror, more than tension here. But it's definitely going to be a stream game for sure for people. Alright, final story. PlayStation Plus catalog for July 2025 was announced. So the Plus and Extra, the Extra and Premium game catalog editions, Cyberpunk 2077, a Biotech Factor. I'm definitely saying that wrong. Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden, Bluey, the video game, which I heard is actually terrible. Planet Zoo, Risk of Rain 2, Tropico 6, and New World. That'd be the Interium? I don't believe you pronounced the A. I think it's Interium. For premium members only, Twisted Metal 3 and Twisted Metal 4. So be on the lookout for that. Those games are coming at the end of this month here. I don't think these are for basic subscribers. So if you have Extra and Premium, which are the second and third levels, you get these games. I would say Cyberpunk's probably the only one that would be worth it, but yeah, so there you have it. That'll do it for the show. Like I said, about 40 minutes or so, a little bit under. There wasn't much news this week. I think Gamescom or something's coming up soon, so maybe they're holding out stuff for that. But yeah, we do have a podcast Prime, so if you want to hear more about us talking about video games, you'll have 2 opportunities this next week. So be on the lookout for that. Remember, we'll be back tonight with more Mega Man. And then the rest of the week until Saturday is TBA. Just because of how busy and a bunch of things I have to get done this week before I leave for Toronto. There will be a news hour on Sunday next week. And I'll probably let Tom do the Retro Roulette game on Monday. Instead of me trying to squeeze in, I should probably get to bed early, so I might not be there. Maybe Jen can join him or something for that game, because it is a 7.5-hour drive, so it's probably gonna be like 8.5 because I need to stop for food. And I'm going to a Blue Jays game at 7 o'clock, so I need to be out of here by at least 8 a.m. because I need to go check into my hotel before going to the game. So yeah, I need to time that all out. So yeah, thank you all for joining me. We'll see you tonight if you're listening to the YouTube channel or on audio. If you're watching live on Twitch, we'll see you tomorrow. And I'm going to try and have everything caught up YouTube-wise for things I've played so that you have things to watch while I'm not here. So, yeah. Hope your weekend was great. It's always fun to end it with you. And we'll see you next time. Bye!